That one, right? Obviously, that's Brandon Beane on Monday about all the criticism he received for the Bills not drafting a receiver. Yesterday, though, they did sign Elijah Moore to a one-year deal worth up to $5 million. Josh Allen, he's got to be the best quarterback that Moore's played with, so it'll be interesting to see what Moore does there. Okay, let's go to our former GM first. What did you think of the way he addressed the situation, Brandon Beane?
You know, Hannah, it's really hard to relate to this. GM getting criticized.
Yeah, I know. Never happens,
does it? I can't relate to this at all. You know, look, you got to ask question after question about your vulnerability, what's ever perceived to be. And I think Brandon's like, you know what? We got a really good team. Do your homework. Ask me something different. I'm sure he was exhausted. He's a great guy. He's very confident. He has a lot to be proud of. So I think it was probably the wrong question on the wrong day.
Well, keeping receipts, though, to go all the way back to the Josh Rosen criticism.
Yes,
Mina, we saw you there. It was great that you were featured in that little piece. But they did go defense with their first 5 picks. So, I mean, what's your assessment of that draft in terms of their offense?
I think it makes sense that the draft was focused on defense. I'll start there. This offense was second league-wide in DVOA last year. The defense was 11th, which is still really good, obviously, but I do think there was a need to add talent, particularly on the defensive line and at cornerback, which is exactly what they did in the draft. And to go back to the offense and why they were so good last year, it's an offense that's really built inside out. The strength of the offense, outside of course Josh Allen, is the offensive line. They have a dominant run game. They have a lot of really good receivers, a lot of similar receivers, slot receivers, and I think they're betting on development from Keon Coleman, who was their first-round draft pick last year. Now, I stand by what I said in that clip. I do wish they had a little bit more speed in this group, but it is an excellent group, and when you got Josh Allen at quarterback, you have a guy who raises the floor of everybody.
And for me, this is under the axiom of, like, the good teams are the ones that let their opponents beat them before they ever beat themselves. If you look at Josh Allen last year, only 6 interceptions, only sacked 14 times. And sometimes the greatest improvement, and Amina just touched on it a little bit, is when you're returning young players get better. So Keon Coleman's one, but you think about, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, they're a little bit older, but I expect them to get better. But this is an offense that, to me, it's well coached. They were third in point differential, which speaks to the fact that they did score points, even though they don't have that explosive element. And then defensively, again, the offseason's a continuum. They signed a couple of players that are going to be suspended, so they sort of doubled down, and I thought that was really smart. And if you have to pick up a receiver like Elijah Moore, like you mentioned, Hannah, you can do that later on in the offseason. So I'm not going to disagree with Brandon Beane. I don't want to get yelled at.
Obviously. Mina?
I'm glad you mentioned Dalton Kincaid, because when I talked about development, I focused on Coleman. But, Mike, you're absolutely right. Like, that's a player who I just feel like still – his ceiling is a lot higher than what we have seen from him in the NFL. You've seen flashes of it, why they took him in the first round. I mean, to me, when we talk about guys who can really threaten vertically and make this offense more explosive, that's the kind of tight end he was in college. He is a seam stretcher. He's got wonderful hands downfield, but he hasn't become as dominant as I think his draft status and his potential, the tape suggests he could be. I mean, I thought this Bills offense would be living in 12 personnel with him and Knox, but they haven't quite hit that, and that's something I would look for this year. If Kincaid can hit another level, then I think we won't be complaining about the receiving group.
Yeah, 6 of their 9 picks were on the defensive side. No offense until they take another tight end in round 5. All right, time to get you caught up on some of the best things we heard this week. Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon was asked about Marvin Harrison Jr. and expectations for him this upcoming season.
From year 1 to year 2, I think that's where guys make a huge jump. And this guy played unbelievable ball for us. But if you talk to him, he'd be the first to tell you, I need to get better at these couple things. And, man, he has went to work on them. And I'm really excited to see where his game goes. The guy's a ready-made pro. He does all the right things. He was here the whole offseason. I think he added a little bit of muscle mass. He looks a little bit bigger. All his numbers, his metrics are all better than when we got him. I'm not going to speak truth into the universe, but just wait until this guy plays this year.
Mina, what do you think? What sort of leap do you expect from him?
Yeah, I think a big one, because Marvin Harrison Jr., his rookie season didn't live up to his potential where he was drafted, but there were flashes of the dominant receiver we saw in college. There were games where he looked like the best rookie receiver. The Rams game you're seeing there, he was so explosive on those deep overs. And then I thought the final game of the season as well, week 18, you really saw that big frame, contested catch ability, how incredible a route runner he is at his size. He just has to put it together, I think, more consistently and not disappear in games. And it sounds like he's going to do that.
Yep, should have a big year, too. Okay, now you might have missed this. Falcons general manager Terry Fontenot spoke about the team's plans for Kirk Cousins.
We just have to be patient there. We're open with it, not just talking about Kirk, but with really anybody on our roster. I've probably talked to already 6 or 7 GMs since the draft has ended. If something comes to us with Kirk or any other player that makes sense and it's going to help this team, then we're going to be aggressive and we're going to do it. We always have to ask that question. Is it the best for the Atlanta Falcons? And if it is, we're going to be willing to do it. But all that communication is always ongoing.
Mikey T, what should they do with Cousins?
Have to trade him. This player is one play away from going in at the quarterback position. He doesn't want to be there. That's been well documented. What's complicating here, guys, is the guarantees. About $37.5 million left to guarantee over 2 years, which is how much of it is Atlanta going to eat? How much is the acquiring team? So not only are you talking about draft choice compensation, Hannah, but the guaranteed money is the part that, to me, is going to be harder to resolve.
Meanwhile, Minnesota has their quarterback, second-year QB J.J. McCarthy, asked if he's ready to start, and he did not hesitate. Take a listen.
I know I'm ready to start. I appreciate that question, Kevin, because all the work I put in and just the confidence in my skills and abilities and just being able to do my job and simplify things to, the best of my ability every single day and, just take it one day at a time, one play at a time. And, I have a tremendous coaching staff, a tremendous group of guys around me that I can lean on, and they can lean on me.
Mina, how confident are you in JJ as the starter?
Well, I have no idea how he's going to look, but I'll tell you this. He is walking into a hell of a situation. We saw that, of course, last year with the Vikings with Sam Darnold. We know how good the receiving group is, but they addressed what was their biggest weakness at the end of last year, and that's the interior of the offensive line. Drafting Donovan Jackson, who's a guard, in the first round. Signing players basically from the Indianapolis Colts, Kelly and Will Fries. So J.J. McCarthy is going to be protected. They already have a very good tackle duo, and that gives me confidence in his ability in his what is a redshirt rookie season.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see. All right, now we have a bonus in case you missed it for our former Jets GM. And this is Justin Fields throwing to Garrett Wilson. Oh, happy day. They're reunited, and it feels so good. Oh, that looks so good. What are your expectations for the Jets, my friend?
Anna, I had a hand in hiring Dan Campbell in Miami when he was the 12-game interim head coach. I had a hand in helping the Jets with Aaron Glenn. They're the same person. This is going to be the Detroit Lions East, and when you think about toughness, I think about Justin Fields maybe being the toughest quarterback out there and Garrett Wilson being a great player. So it's Ohio State East here, but it's really going to be the Detroit Lions. Aaron Glenn's going to have this team well coached. They're going to run the ball. They'll use play action. And I think these two together are going to be fun to watch.
And he's a culture setter as well, right?
Absolutely. You'll look at things like penalties, turnovers. I expect that all to be much better this year.
Okay, good. I love it. Doesn't that just make you happy in your heart, your Jets? Drake May spoke earlier today. What'd you take away from the second-year QB there, Mike? And happy May.
Happy May, Hannah. Well, let's talk about Mike Vrabel, the first-year head coach, and how Drake May has noticed the impact